Chapter 15. Billy knocked on Gable's door and then looked around the parking lot and finally to the sky at the cotton ball clouds forming in the hot afternoon. He hadn't checked the weather and made a mental note to do so before they departed, not knowing the conditions had proven almost catastrophic in the past. In the Rocky Mountains above Estes Park, he had gotten caught in whiteout conditions around a hidden lake and almost failed to find his path back to the trailhead. Another time in Georgia, he had been camping when a flash flood made a nearby creek swell in the middle of the night, sending swirling water near his tent, obliterating the path. He spent a full day trying to hike to safety. The memories spun until the door finally opened and Gable began to exit before turning back into the room as if he had forgotten something. "It's not like I was coming to get you, but I'm thinking you and I will team up with Harrison and Petra. I'm thinking that cemetery might be interesting," Billy said before stepping inside. "Your room's a bigger mess than mine." "Maybe the forest behind it," Gable said, seemingly searching around the room. "The cemetery would provide another layer of intrigue." "Like if we don't find anything?" Gable asked. He moved his suitcases to the bed and unzipped one of the pockets. "I don't want to go home with nothing," Billy said. "Just in case. Take the deputies. What did you put in your vest?" Gable stopped for the briefest of an instant, looking in Billy's eyes, and said, "My pistol. I always take it." "You do not always take it." "I do." "I did not know that," Billy said. "You can't take it."
"And why not?"
"We're not carrying firearms like we're going on a big game hunt."
"I don't think this would be the appropriate weapon for Bigfoot," Gable said.
"You know what I mean. We're not hunting a Bigfoot. Besides, it's not the right message."
"No one even knows I have it," Gable said, his posture suggesting defense.
"I do. Besides, you can't have a firearm on federal lands."
"I have my permit. It's for our protection."
"You don't have a permit to have it in a national forest. Don't take it. How'd you get on the plane, anyway?"
"I have my ways," Gable said.
He removed the handgun, probably a 9mm, bigger than could be concealed in one's hand, silver and menacing under the circumstance. Gable waited as if the situation might be resolved on its own.
"Very well. But if we need it, I don't expect me not to say I told you so."
It was another in what was now a string of occurrences that gave Billy pause. He decided he would keep the information to himself, but upon returning something would need to be put in writing to prohibit firearms on the team. That was something he never thought to consider. Maybe he needed to consider many more things. The rest of the team, minus Harrison, was already assembled in the lobby when Billy and Gable arrived, and the actors strolled up as the teams were announced. "Rink, Robo, you guys will explore around Tom's place. Lay low. Film quietly. Be serene. Something tells me that might work." "Good Lord, Harrison, what is that smell?"
"Pizza and pork rinds," Harrison said with a mouthful.
"It's awful," Billy said, covering his nose. "And I've eaten some pretty nasty stuff in my time."
"I love the South," he continued, grinning and chewing. "I got it from the gas station at the bottom of the hill. They've got boiled peanuts. I'm getting some of them tomorrow." "You're in the very back of the van," Gable said. "It's isolated. I can't smell that riding all the way out to location."
Harrison apparently didn't care where he rode and shrugged his shoulders. Sure enough, with Harrison in the back of the van, neither Billy nor Gable could smell the pungent snack. Petra's demeanor would have prevented her thoughts on the matter from being known anyway. And as they drove, long shadows draped the cemetery as night fell, making for a dark arrival. The deputies, driving plain vehicles and not on duty, were already there. The green hue of the night vision lit up the cemetery for the investigators, each of the headstones still warm from the day's sunlight. Norton Norfleet's stone gleamed white, maybe due to all the trysts he had with coeds at the college where he coached. Argyle Feston's was shaded in black like his heart from the way he treated his employees. The deputies had already recreated seeing the Bigfoot, showing the team where he had stood and where he had departed. Now everyone in the group lingered and sat around a tall mausoleum with a padlock on the door. Inside the cement structure sat a small bench where a surviving loved one might mourn. Sadness rested its chin on an elbow, even though the crypt belonged to miserly Judge Cass, who had shocked the community when he spent his money and bought the plot and the morbid structure before his death. His recluse wife was buried with him. "I think spirits exist," Billy whispered. "Maybe an energy remains when people die, possibly imprinting their image to a location like a picture," Gable replied. "Especially during violent deaths or murder." The deputies were silent and wore borrowed night vision also, scanning the tree line, looking for their suspect. "I agree," Harrison said. "I've seen more than one ghost." "Do tell," Billy said. "My grandmother's house, after my grandfather passed, for one. I also saw a mysterious fog in a cemetery when I was young." "You're still young," Billy told him. "I mean young. When I was a teenager." "Told you kids come into the cemetery," one deputy whispered. "Not always to look for ghosts, though," the other added. "We're a G-rated program, so we'll leave it at that," Billy said. Dew had collected on the grass around the tombstones, and for the first time since they had arrived, a cool breeze ruffled the leaves of the trees and moved air around the cemetery, like some being had tiptoed past. Then, from somewhere far away, the deep rumble of thunder echoed along the hills. When some time passed and they hadn't heard thunder again, Billy had gotten antsy enough to encourage the group to explore. Let's walk the area and see what we can rustle up. Not ghosts, but maybe a Bigfoot in the area," Billy said. The deputies weren't as confident and decided to cut their losses and avoid the rains. They bid their farewells. "Be careful," Billy said. "Watch for deer." The deputies waved as they left. "What would make you think to say that?" Gable asked. "I heard someone say it in the lobby the other evening." Billy had become local. The officer's intuition had been correct. In half an hour, rain came, steady and persistent, if not heavy. Then thunder rolled again, and the rain increased, bringing with it the smells of the earth. Ponchos on, the group hunkered down to wait. For how long was anyone's guess. At least it wasn't hot now, though some of the trees still held an eerie glow in the night vision. Twice the sound of a twig sounded in the forest, blending in with the steady storm and plinking raindrops. The equipment showed nothing. More than once Billy was certain he heard footfalls, softly and stealthily. They filmed and watched. Another squall moved through, causing them to squat and lay even lower. The trees swayed and popped as the investigators spent most of their night in the uncomfortable setting and waited to escape back to their vehicle. Rink and Robo, on the other hand, must have been in a location shielded from the worst of the storm and only got 2 small showers. They had driven to Tom's farm, waved to him as he stood on the porch, and walked through his back pasture amongst an audience of cattle. A raccoon scurried away from them, tossing curses in their direction, and in less than 20 minutes they were following the Tellico River, which now had whitecaps as it lapped its banks. The once gentle murmur of the water transformed into a loud but not disagreeable hiss. They climbed a large boulder and sat, while Grant placed a camera on a tripod and soon was dozing once more. Truth be told, Robo liked Rink's company and genuinely enjoyed their conversations, which were gentle, unstressed, and comfortable. He leaned back on his hands.
Why is it so hard for you to believe, Rink?
Robes, I need proof. It's not that I disbelieve, I just need proof. I'm agnostic, I guess, she said, smiling.
Well, I guess in the Bigfoot faith, I'm a believer.
I didn't really mean in any spiritual sense. I'm uncertain is all.
I know. I'm just joking around. What about the picture?
The arm or whatever? She asked.
Yeah, the picture from yesterday.
I just can't tell. I always have to have proof for things.
If you have to have proof, what about love? It's something you feel, you know? You have to go on faith.
Robo said. He looked at Rink's face. You get proof in what's not there sometimes, she said. Robo thought about that for a while before he arrived at a comment.
I'm trying to make a comparison to not having a Bigfoot walk right by, and I can't really. I get your point, though. Sometimes you think you see evidence, and it's all smoke and mirrors.
We're experienced, aren't we? She stated, and rocked back and forth until she could find a piece of moss to pick off the rock before looking back up at the raging river. Grant was snoring loud enough for them to hear, and Rink giggled, bringing out a large, gap-toothed smile from Robo.
So, what do you love?
Robo asked. I love my mom, which reminds me, I need to check on her.
I know. Most of us love our mothers. But what about something else?
I love research and trying to add facts together to get an answer.
That's what I'm saying,
Robo told her.
I have enough facts to add together to make Bigfoot real to me.
But I don't.
Maybe that will happen. I hope so. Lots of others will believe if we can convince you,
Robo said. I love most of the camaraderie on our team, Rink added.
I know what you're saying. I do too,
Robo said.
I love Billy like a brother. He's become one of my best friends.
Billy, Rink started and considered her words. He's a good man. He's kind. He's a leader, even if he doesn't want to admit it. He's passionate about what he's doing. He's convinced. I wish I could be convinced about something, anything, like he is. She grew quiet as Robo studied her out of the corner of his eye, but said nothing. Robo was a simple man. At least that's what his now ex-wife had said. But he was good at judging intentions with the perception that came from his mother, who seemed to know what others were thinking without ever hearing them utter a comment about it. It was an intuition as loud as spoken words.
Tom said Bigfoot would know an hour before we were here. He says they know things. Maybe read minds, make you forget.
Rink seemed to consider the comment. Tom's a smart man.
You think so? You believe then?
Tom was a veterinarian.
What would make you think that?
His mailbox, she said, smiling. Robo shook his head and smirked. Rink was smart, observant. She was much like Billy.
If Bigfoot was in that picture, he could be right here, near us, right now,
Robo said, and suddenly Rink's confidence and safety were shaken somewhat. Maybe she wasn't convinced totally that Bigfoot could be explained away through faulty sightings or some kind of mass hallucination. She looked around in the darkness and put her night vision on once more to no avail and relaxed somewhat. The night continued to expire. They waited. Bigfoot hid.